Hi everyone, it's Alex from Risk Academy, and today I wanted to talk about critical thinking because my experience shows that out of all the skills risk managers should have, that one in particular is very important. And I'll explain what I mean by critical thinking because it could mean literally anything. But to me it means two things. First one, because of all the research in cognitive biases, in risk perception, in how people behave and act and make decisions under uncertainty. What all of this basically means is that individuals, managers, senior managers are very likely to fall into one of close to 200 different cognitive biases. So there is a very high probability that the information you receive, especially verbal information that you receive from management, senior management, or middle management, or staff, would not be correct. And it would not be just incorrect by margin, it may be completely missing the point. Like it could be the opposite of what the reality is. The effect of cognitive biases is just so great. So because risk management relies so heavily on human interaction and information received from people, and because all of the research tells us that you can't really trust people unless you work with them and you probe them and you sort of prep them for risk discussions, and that's actually a lot of work. Like unless you have a workshop before the workshop, the preparation workshop, before the risk assessment workshop, the outcomes of the risk assessment workshop would be pretty unreliable. So because the science basically tells us that humans are not very good at making judgments, assessments, forecasts when it comes to uncertainty, risk managers need to use a lot of critical thinking. They need to be super pragmatic. So that's number one. When interacting with people, risk managers need to apply a lot of critical thinking. That means they should not, and they simply cannot afford to trust somebody just because somebody said something. They need to have a verification mechanism for literally everything they have heard from the business. And the verification mechanism could be a number of things. It could be listening to one person and asking to verify a different person. It could be creating, like I did for example, it could be creating a business process where on every opinion submitted by the business, like the investment projects for example, you have a formalized, structured process with predefined checklists that on the same information submitted by the business, there is an opinion that's been formulated by the finance, legal, strategy, marketing, internal audit, head of risk, and some other business units, security and some other business units. You may have a formal process to verify. Basically you hear something and you get independent opinions to verify that. There's a third option, of course, is you hear something and you as the risk manager or you work together with internal auditors, you have direct access to the systems, to the IT systems, to the production systems, so you can get data. If somebody says, we've never had a product line stopping for longer than 2 hours, you can check the statistics to see that last year there was a major breakage that stopped the production line for 2.5 weeks. You need to be able to get that information almost instantaneous, to be able to verify. So that's number one. Critical thinking is very important to apply when you interact with the business. When somebody tells you something, you need to, in your mind, before you even speak to that person, you need to understand how you're going to verify his words. Are you going to speak to other people? Are you going to speak to a group of people, to a committee? Or are you going to get some data from the systems to confirm or deny whatever that person is saying? So that's number one. But there's a second one. Second one, which I personally think is actually maybe more important. And that's critical thinking on the risk management effectiveness itself. I mean, we have been doing risk management. I have been in risk management for 14 years now. That's a long time. Most of you have been in risk management for much longer than me. And looking at statistics, looking at the at the current facts and the scandals that are happening all over the world continuously in different countries, different geographies, different cultures, we can say that risk management has been pretty unsuccessful. Like, I actually don't think there is a company in the world that can say we nailed it. Like, we nailed risk management, it's done and dusted, we've got it perfectly done. Some companies manage some risks some of the time quite well. Some risk managers have achieved some amazing results in particular areas of business. Like, for example, I've integrated well into investment decision making, and I've changed the whole process of investment decision making. I've made significant impact on the budgeting cycle and changed some of the messages and changed the focus of the senior management by doing so when doing this the overall company strategy. But there were, for every single success story, there are dozens where I didn't get in time and we still lost money. Or even if I did get there in time, I may have missed it just like everybody else. So risk management, and that's why I think critical thinking needs to be applied. If you have been with the company for ages and your company is still incurring a lot of losses, or the management decisions are being made without risks in mind, or risks are considered informally, there's no systematic, consistent, transparent process, well, risk managers need to apply the same critical thinking to their own work and have a look at it. If what I'm doing is not making a huge impact, like if you're not saving your company millions, and not like hypothetical millions, I can improve decision making and that will lead to better outcomes, no bullshit like that, like real direct saving of millions. If you're not saving your company a lot of money today, then maybe you need to apply the same critical thinking and think, well, do I need to change my approach? Do I need to change some of the tools that I use? Do I need to integrate risk management in some decision-making processes where I have not done before? Do I need to move away from quarterly risk assessments altogether? Do I need to stop sending the board their quarterly or annual risk reports? If nobody pays attention to them anyway, or if it's just lip service, should I maybe just stop doing it altogether? Because for every single thing that I've just mentioned, there is a better alternative. And do check out the Risk Academy channel on YouTube, because I have a video on every single topic that I've just mentioned. There is a better solution than risk reports, there is a better solution than quarterly risk assessments, there is a better way than what you can consider a traditional risk management. Now, hopefully this video will create some debate. Do write underneath this video. For me, for now, thank you and goodbye.